Hello and welcome in to the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Today to talk about mistakes, which is not the topic I thought I was going to talk about based on, or let me rephrase. If I was going to do a show about mistakes, surely it was about my lineups. But I'm not going to talk about my lineups today, or at least that's not the point. We'll see if we actually do get to the mistakes of lineups, but doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming in. Happy Friday. Looks like we have Liam, Bob, and Kev Hurd on the podium today. Congratulations to you three. Rasko Muskaki, fourth place, is first loser. No podium for me. It's a terrible way to think of it, but you're right. Sorare Juju, what's up? Carol, third time with 20 plus lineups, still exhausting. It is, well, I'm not sure how I felt today yet. Anyway, Bob Flynn, what's up? What's up? Appreciate the like already. If everyone else wants to go hit the like button, that's always really nice. Appreciate all of those likes. Kai, 20,000 Hansa Rostock fans away at Hertha in a few minutes is a new record for away supporters in the second Bundesliga. If you're a football fan, this will be a fantastic atmosphere. Let's go. I'm surprised that they were even allowed to have 20,000. Ryan Walter, like and subscribe for better loot box odds, which is absolutely true. I've learned that from Quinny's streams, even though I say that and I actually haven't gotten anything but cards from a loot box, but reward box, excuse me. But anyway, Mike Bassett, howdy mates. A mistake has been made if you have not liked this stream. I love it. And Liam, like on arrival. Appreciate that. Mike Bassett, your daughter still taking the thumbnail shots, or is that your internal Sorare Data profile pic? That's a picture I've used numerous times. And I remember the first time I used it, people were like, oh, you got some fake glasses. But I actually wear glasses normally. Well, let me rephrase. I need corrective lenses. I wear contacts. But at some point in the day, it's just like, I need my glasses. And I did the Sorare After Dark, which might have been the last one. I can't remember if they've done one since then. But I wore glasses, and I think it was Sam Ty who was like, who the hell is this guy? And it was just me in glasses. But so yeah, I wear glasses, or I need glasses. Tuggy, what's up? It's Wilson. Just mic it. Has your heart rate stabilized after Quinny's stream? So no, yes, it has. But man, that was quite an experience of watching Quinny trying to fix things literally with like 2 minutes left. And speaking of Quinny, actually, I was about to watch his live, or excuse me, I don't want to call it a live stream, but I guess it was live at the time. But anyway, his podcast from Sorare Sevens, which I have not, but then I was like, oh, wait, I have my own show. So Kev Hurd, at the end of Quinny's stream. Now, for those of you who don't know, Quinny and Harry Trades do a deadline show 2 hours before the deadline every Friday. And they go through all the lineup, projected lineups and any news that comes up. And it's really nice because there are people in chat who share news. And I don't even remember what the player, I don't know if it was one or two players that were all of a sudden like they were out. I think Liam Scales was one. And I forget who the other one is. Jack, totally agree. The info shared on the stream helps massively every week. And it was Goretzka. Yeah, so Scales and Goretzka, thank you very much, who are very important players in Quinny's gallery. And then all of a sudden, he was like, oh, okay, I got to take them out. And I looked up and it was like 2 minutes to deadline. He's like, okay, I just have like 3 more. And I was like, 3 more. And then he realized he hadn't done his training lineups yet. And he's like blasting through them. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, get it done, please, please. And I don't even know if he ended up doing it because I was just like, the deadline hit and it was just like, whew, all right. And just like last week, the deadline hit for me and I just had to get up and leave. And I was just like, I need to step away, not because of Quinny and Harry, but literally just like I was doing my own lineups. I started putting my lineups together earlier, like basically on Tuesday. And then I decided I was going to buy a card this morning. I decided yesterday I was going to buy a card today. And of course, it was gone. And had to change some things around. And at so the deadline is 10 a.m. for me. Around 9:05, I was like, I got to start putting these into Sorare because this process like takes forever. And then I had there were two entries that I hadn't done before. I entered contender limited in season for the first time. So I had to come up with another fruit to name my lineup one. And then I actually had another one. Maybe I think I dropped down a division somewhere because I didn't like my line. I think it was champ, rare, classic. I played a lower division because I didn't like the lineup I had. I think, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, and it still just kind of takes a while, but it is what it is for now. For now. So the Aman said, I no idea how Quinny managed that with the new interface. I can't stand it. So I got a little used to it this week, like the putting in cap modes. It's like I knew when I went to the cap screen that I had to change to cap 240 when I put my 240 lineup in. Of course, when I went to put my 270 lineup in, I had forgotten to change it. So I was in 220 and I was like way over the cap. Oh no, it was giving me the below scarcity. And I'm like, why are these here? And then, but we'll get used to it. Mike said, when the deadline hits, I go back to work, which, yeah, we could all do that. I think a lot of people do that. But what I wanted to talk about today, and for those of you who are normally here, and actually, before I do that, because there was a Liam, not always active in the chat, but I love lurking, watching the streams while getting other things done. So thank you to everybody who is like lurking out there. Thank you for coming. Your likes are appreciated. You being here and you watching is very appreciated. And don't worry about having to go in the chat, but it's fun in there. I think everybody's there because they're having fun, and maybe you'll have a little more fun too. Anyway, so the mistakes, what did I call this? Mistakes will be made. So I came up with this idea of I wanted to talk about this based on Sorare announcing today that we're going to have multi-entry, although only up to 2 lineups, in All-Star in midweeks. Was it from now on? Like until All-Star's gone? Let me double check. What did they say to us? Is it pitch notes? Yeah, okay. Can I share this with you guys? I sure can. Congrats on winning Challenger Classic Super Rare. You're leading. Sweet. Anyway, so this is the pitch notes, which now I'm looking doesn't even look. But anyway, oh, is it not even in here? Did I make this up? Is it on the blog? Why do I? Anyway. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. Advice from RotoWire. I wonder who wrote it. Very cool. Right at bottom. Oh, it's right there. Sorry. In the pitch notes. Why am I? Sorry. I'm like completely missing it. Right at bottom. Like here, few hours left, special weeklies. I didn't really want to, I wasn't looking for like the whole thing. Anyway, whatever. So the reason we needed this is because there are too many people who have cards that aren't qualifying for the special weekly they came up with. And while, yes, you could play All-Star, it's, oh, I'm sorry, you guys. It's literally the first. Well, not the first. Starting the game week of April 16th through 19th, which I think is next midweek, right? Like this upcoming midweek. 2 All-Star team entries will be allowed for the rest of the transition phase for midweek game weeks only. Remember that in August, the special weeklies will pick up the pace and fully take over to ensure you can always play your favorite cards around exciting concepts. So apologies for missing literally this gigantic one right here. Plus a GIF for our boxes. But anyway, so there was some so the feedback basically that we've seen so far from the first 2 midweeks that we've had of this transition phase is, 1, what do we do in the first game week? Because the first game week, there was a bunch of Copa Libertadores and Sudamericana and CONCACAF Champions Cup matches, and there was no special weekly, so you could only play All-Star and the cap modes, and everyone was like, I don't think that was the point. And then they uh, went to this Continental Nights thing, and people were upset because of the specialist rule. Some people were upset. Some people loved it. And the difficulty that came about with that was, like, if you needed the um under 40 player, it was probably one from South America, and if you were a European based player, meaning like your gallery is mostly European, then you're going to not really want to play those, buy those cards. And it wasn't as, I don't think it was received as positively as they had hoped. And maybe the rewards will change everybody's mind. I didn't go out of my way to participate in it. My goalie that I thought would play ended up being a DNP anyway, so I didn't win anything and I only submitted in rare and got a killer DNP in my all-star super rare lineup. But anyway, so I think they just quickly realized, like, oh, we're not doing enough for midweeks, because they had this one Continental Nights one, and it it didn't create this enthusiasm from a lot of people. Who were like, oh, this is so phenomenal. I love this. I'm going to play it. I'm going to go buy cards to do it. And so that's what's going to happen over the next 4 months. That we're some people have called us guinea pigs, and it's basically a beta, but it is. And I think we need to recognize that and respond in a way that is more positive for the community and ourselves. So essentially, if you don't want to be a part of this, then don't. Then don't. But it could be really fun. We just really don't know what's happening, and I'm not sure they do. And that's not a shot at them, like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. This has not been done before. So and we said that I've said this on a number of things, that it comes to So Rare, that there is no blueprint here. There is no easy path of success that they are looking at and we're like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to try something else. Like, none of this has been done before. So the expectation that they will get everything right is absurd. And so because of that, we need to, like, we're growing with them. And if that's a problem, then, like, that's on you now. Like, you need to realize that things are going to go wrong at some point. And maybe not wrong, but, like, it's not going to go in a way that you want, maybe. And if that's the case, there shouldn't be any situation where you're like, I can't believe this happened or whatever. Like, we don't know anything that's going to happen, and we're playing. We have to play knowing that anything can happen, and we'll see. Let's see what everybody in the chat says. Sorry, I went on like a little rant there. Rigamon said, yeah, not sure how I feel about this. I was planning on going all-star, but might change now. I think that's for the multi-entry. Just Mike had said, I suggest everyone planning to compete in European competition next midweek to dedicate some time in advance. The cap makes it very challenging. And the cap was even raised. Just Mike said, I disagreed with the timing of it. Quarterfinals in Europe versus America group stage doesn't make much sense. Love the idea, love the concept, just didn't agree with the timing. So I get that totally. Like, I think that was one of the big one. That was like my initial piece of feedback. And it was more that you tend not to get bad players playing in like the quarterfinals of these European competitions. So if you were looking for a low L15 player, you pretty much had to go outside of Europe, which isn't, I mean, not the end of the world, but it's also not what a lot of people wanted to do. And Surfula, I think, was the first to point out, like, if you did this later in the year, then you're like screwing the America galleries. But as weird as it sounds, I think they're more willing to do that. The real nose. I don't know that one, but welcome. Thank you for coming. What I learned from Continental Knights: don't make your goalkeepers captain, you idiot. I'm so mad at myself. Had I put Romero as captain, I would have gotten a T1 instead of a T3-4. I mean, goalie captains, I never really think that. The Sorare lineup suggestion always does, because they're they probably have the highest median score, but in a captain, you don't want a median score. Quinny, what's up? Home for this one, walking the dog. Oh, all right. Let's go. Listening to streams on a walk, nothing better in life. Ben Johnson, the announcement of 2 all-star lineups really showed me just how receptive to noise Sorare are. Then I was thinking about old decisions they made, such as limited threshold. I'm sure the noise fans rare made heavily influenced them. No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's receptive to noise. I think is unfair. I think the all-star, the multi lineup in all-star was, I think, came from legitimate feedback from people that they felt like they were not allowed to get the utility out of all of these cards that they bought. And Sorare, I don't think Sorare has a responsibility to give utility to all cards, but it is bad when you have people who like bought a bunch of cards because they're like, oh, the weekends will be great and we'll come up with these great special weeklies. And then they came up with one that didn't really work as well as I think a lot of people were hoping it would. And so they need to come out with something better. I do wonder if we'll see prizes increase a little bit in All-Star. My guess is not. I was talking to someone earlier today that I have this kind of expectation, and there's no reason for me to really think this other than just speculation. But I do think that the prizes in All-Star will continue to get worse because I don't think they want us to play it. Like, they want to get rid of it. And so maybe they keep, they'll maintain the numbers maybe, but I'm just not sure anyone's going to be like, I think they really want us to get out of playing All-Star. And multi-entry obviously is moving in the opposite direction of that. So maybe I'm totally wrong. But I think that the path that we're going to play in the future is, champion, contender, and challenger. And they want us to do that. Graham said the unique Euro special for next week is allowing you to use 5 rare cards. That's great. Mistakes will be mistakes from Trip, who is using the wrong account. Ben said, so if we want change, such as an import Sorare data lineups on Sorare, we just need to make noise. Yeah, I mean, they need to know. I think there is a difference between complaining and giving them viable feedback. And I think they got reasonable feedback from people about these last 2 midweeks of, hey, I bought all these cards and you're not, and there are these competitions where I used to be able to use them, and now you're telling me I can't. That's not really great. And so I guess, agreed. Halogen said, I bought 2 Dodos as my L15 40 guy. He smashed a 74, but Jordi Alba got a 0 to ruin me in one of them and Calendar 17 in the other. Yeah. Well, yeah. Mike Bass, I'm certainly not buying cards for the next Continental Knights. That's not where my gallery is. It was for the one we've had, and missing a game mode isn't such a big thing to me. Yeah, I agree. Tuggy thought Continental Knights was awesome. Tuggy thinks that because he bought some random card of a guy who plays for Peñarol, and he's had like a hat trick with 3 big chances missed. And so, yeah. Mike said, I made the decision to never buy a player out of a European top 5 a while back. So I only had 4 to 5 choices for L15. This is for the Continental Knights. None did well, so feel free. So feel from podium. Sorry. None did well, so feel from podium with Foden, Rodri, Vinny to 8. Oh, fell due to Pau Torres. Yeah. Yeah. I think that was the bummer with that one. And I think there was a kind of a thought that maybe they would have like 1 European one and 1 American one. but like combining it, I know why they combined it so that like you can have bigger prize pool and all that. But it is just a little. It was a little underwhelming. I was underwhelmed. It didn't make me. I also thought that so. I had less of a problem with the L15 of 40 guy than with the 2 of 55 or higher because I've been told that stars will be stars, so I'm trying to get better players. And then I had too many that had an L15 of 55 or higher, including all my goalkeepers, and so that just like hamstrung it a little bit. Server said pretty unhappy about the current UI for entering lineups. Last night entering lineup was a miserable experience. In almost 5 years of playing, I've never hated lineup entering so much. And Rico Mon said, I hate having to refresh the page to see changes. So I thought they fixed the refresh. Didn't they literally just say that? Yeah. Guys, read the pitch notes. It's 2 down from this 3 down, 1, 2, 3. No, 2. The interface issue preventing teams from updating without refreshing the page. Oh, should be fixed today. Excuse me. That's really small for you guys, isn't it? There we go. Should be fixed today. Togi said they felt that at 6:30 this morning trying to retweet last minute. Yeah. Honestly, I thought the entering lineups was fine for myself. Yeah. Maybe you guys just need to name your teams better. I added Clementine and something else today to my teams. What was it? Apricot. Clementine and Apricot, brand new ones on the Lairdinho FC lineup list. So Colonel Dickweed said, I'm used to the new lineup interface already. Yeah, we'll get used to it. Don't worry. But again, this is like literally a beta phase. Like whether they call it that or not, like that's what this is. It's all figuring out if the things that they've thought of and are planning will work. And we're the ones who it's very difficult to test this stuff out because just with the vast number of people who are playing different competitions and the number of cards, and it's really difficult to simulate stuff like this. And so they have to have this transition period, which frankly is basically a response to feedback that they had gotten previously of, hey, you guys aren't giving us enough time to adapt to the changes that you are going to implement. And so they gave us like all this time now, and then people were complaining that there was like too much time. And it's like we they are obviously receptive to feedback, and this whole transition period is where they need to get it from us. And we were complaining about the lineup not refreshing, and now they're going to fix it, and it's stuff like that. However, they are going to do things over this period that won't work, meaning like they'll have a game mode that they're like, hey, go play this, and we all play it, and we're like, that was not cool and fun at all, and then they won't do it again. And that's what we're doing here. Like that's literally the point of the transition phase. And this isn't some like surprise. Like they told us, like the whole announcement was like, this is what we want to do in August. This is we know what the game should excuse me. We have a very good idea of what they want the game to look like in August. And from now, which is April 12th, until August, they're going to try to see if the idea works. And if it doesn't, this is when we figure that out. And it's not in August when all of a sudden all these new users are coming in because it's the start of the European football season, when everybody's getting really excited for fantasy football in any league. And you don't want to then go through we have this idea, and you're like, whoa, I'm new here. What do you mean we're testing this out? And Graham, you're absolutely right that there will always be people complaining. But I think, I'm not here to say you shouldn't complain. I complained literally this morning about something. I don't remember what it was. Oh, when you go onto when you're inputting your lineups, and it doesn't, if you're in the Cat 240 It doesn't tell you what target you selected. Now, I have a theory of why they don't show you, but the other thing is that if they don't change that, I get it because Cap 240 is leaving anyway. At least like the threshold idea. So Mike, like all these new users, yes, like I think the expectation is that more people start to play a new fantasy football game at the beginning of European seasons. So we're going to see more user growth at that time. So why card prices go up at that time. I don't know if they're coming, but I think if they're going to come, they're not going to come now. They'll come in July and August. Maybe. Who knows? But thank you for calling me out on that. So that's my whole thing today was some on my mic. Sorry. This is where the mistakes get made. And I appreciate that we don't want to be the guinea pigs, but it's too late for that. We're in. And because of how we play the game, and I assume that anybody who's watching this show, particularly this one, which is me just yapping away, that we are hardcore users of Sorare. Regardless of your gallery size, you may just spend a lot of time on Sorare or, on Sorare data, but also Sorare. You're taking a lot of time and thinking about Sorare and playing the game. And so our feedback is important. Feedback is important, complaining is not. And so we need to find, if there is a problem, we need to figure out a way to explain that problem, or not even a problem. It's okay if you just don't like something, like this Continental Knights thing. Like I thought it was a fine competition. Like I didn't love it. And part of it is I didn't want to have to buy cards of players I didn't want to own. And the way that it played out, that's how it was going to be. And so there are people who love doing that, who are like, oh yeah, let me scout and find the best player who has an L15 of 36 that is playing in Sudamericana. So because I have this other lineup, I can play them here. But the way that my gallery is, and that this is just a me thing, but there are people like me. Those are just not cards that I'm trying to add to my gallery. And so but like that didn't make the competition bad. It just wasn't for me. And there are plenty of competitions on Sorare that are not for. I don't play Champion Europe rare in season. I have one rare classic one. I wouldn't have it if I had never started this Ren collection. And so there are just some competitions that we don't have to play. Like it's okay. And Continental Knights was one that I chose not to play, but I thought it was like a fine idea. It just didn't sell it for me, and that's okay. Red or Dead said, I really don't understand the issues about what happens during this interim period. You don't understand the issues? What do you mean? Mike said, I've been planning for this upcoming midweek since the announcement already picked one up. See, that's great. I don't know. What is the one for next midweek? Is there right, European nights. What are the rules for this one again? I know there's a cap. Cap 280, and you can play anything. Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like I think so that competition is what I thought they were going to do for this Continental Knights, and they would have like a European one and an American one, and they did not. And it was kind of funny to do it that way because there was so much focus on the fact that in the other competitions, like you were like with no global, you weren't going to be able to use like a River Plate stack to win Mbappe, and then literally you could do it the next week. I know there was a stacking thing, but like whatever. Just Mike said there are only 12 games available. That's wild. Is there like an easy way to find that out on Sorare? Heavens no. Do we have it on Sorare data? I don't want to do pick scores yet, but Tuggy said, "Too much vocal complaining screwed us America boys." But like, are you really screwed? Like, come on. Is it 468? Yeah, it is. No, we don't. Oh, no. Yeah, 468. Champion permanent. No. K-League's in there though. Yeah, sorry. Red or Dead said, what I meant is the whinging on Twitter. Managers complain about the lack of utility. Then there's a comp with multi-entry. Oh yeah, no, I think the multi-entry was a result of that. Was a result of, hey, I can't play my cards, and that's frustrating for sure. Yeah, we don't have matchups with champions. It's not there yet because because it's not a champions competition. Oh, actually, anyway, Mike, you sent it to me on Twitter. That's a good place for it. Let's see. Oh, just the list of matches. I gotcha. Hold on. Is that from Sorare, Mike? I don't know. Anyway, and Bricomon said, all I care about is a postponed sporting game. Yeah, I need a Don back. That's what I need. So it's just feedback. That's all. And I think that we're in here you go. Thank you, Mike. So yeah, 12 games with not, was that 14, 13, probably 12, 10 to 12 licensed teams. Right? We don't have Pilsen, Olympiacos. Do you pronounce it P-A-O-K or is it like Pauk? Pauk? I don't know. Yeah, same as this midweek. Yep. Yeah, because it's just the return legs. But anyway, so they're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. We just need to deal with it. And if you don't want to deal with it, that's cool. Tuggy's saying it's Pow K. That seems weird, but maybe. Coworker is a fan of them. Oh, that's good enough for me. I mean, I'm a fan of things I don't know how to pronounce, though. So anyway. Oh, Quinny says Pow. All right. Fine. Were they playing Bruges? Whatever. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. And I got nothing else. Let's see. Mickey, as someone who designs products as a living, it's impossible to make everyone happy, but the fact they listen and correct mistakes quickly is a good thing. Perfect. Absolutely right. And Mickey, what kind of products do you design? Like toothbrushes. Anyway, the other thing that I guess I could get into a little bit, and I'm willing to not talk about this if it's boring to people. Ricomon said Adon should be back soon. He's back at training, but could see the manager not changing it. Yeah, if he wants to be a total, never mind. I didn't know he was back in training. That's good though. Digital products, websites, and apps. Oh, okay. So, Mike, it's not so much my lineup woes, actually. They're future woes. But I've been doing this thing where I'm strongly debating. Quinny said, I was going to say you're thinking toothpaste. I was thinking toothpaste because that's my whole example. There's somebody who designs toothpaste, or at least the tube of toothpaste. Anyway, so I don't know if it's because I'm either getting lazy or I think of it as a challenge within Sorare that I create. And so I'm I'm looking into the possibility of running the same lineups in rare and super rare, like literally the same, and just seeing how that goes. I I was looking through my gallery and there are so many cards that I just never use and they're worthless and I get it. And there's going to be somebody's like you'll need them that one game week. And I just wonder if I would have I was going to say more enjoyment with it's not even fewer lineups. It's fewer players and maybe even more lineups. But I obviously felt the risks of this. Like it's a high risk strategy, if you can even call it a strategy. Because I experienced it last week when like Magnus Matson was ruled out late, or Paulinho from Midtjylland. I have both of them mostly in the same lineups, so those lineups were like dead anyway. But it is one of those that like if you have one guy who's out, then it's like three lineups that are dead instead of one. Three, I'm considering rare, super rare, and or limited, rare, and super rare. Although I did have the idea of playing, like I have multiple rare cards of some certain players, and maybe I run multiple lineups of the same, like multiple same rare lineups. They'd be in different divisions, maybe, and obviously the XP would be different, but it's like I said, if it's ambitious, Black will approve. Yeah, the yeah, Paulinho and Matson. I actually think one of them they probably got relegated. Kev Hurt said, I just joined a Danish company for work. Reckon I could fly into the office shouting Forza Midtjylland. Uh, couldn't hurt, Kev. Couldn't hurt. Oh, actually, that's not true. Somebody could hate Midtjylland. Who knows? They could be big Copenhagen bros. Anyway, so Ricamon said, as someone that has a lot of the same cards in rare and limited, it can't be fun, but also double the pain sometimes. I assume you mean can be fun. Yeah, exactly. They could be. So I agree, and it was totally painful last week. But part of me was just like the okay, yeah, can be the I don't. When he said the thing everyone misses with the multi card part though is come on, Quinny, well, you can't leave us hanging like that. But the obviously, if one is out, then like I have Rami Hajal from Obi, and he was like terrible last Friday. And I thought it killed three lineups, and then it turned out Matson, that was only digging the grave, and Matson was the one who threw me in it. And then Paulinho covered me in dirt. But I just I don't know. Quinny said the thing that everyone misses in the multi card part is I have six of everything. I'm playing six Tatis and one Kyogo. You don't play six copies of a shaky guy, essentially. Mike said you'll get more life back monitoring less games. Yeah, because I'm watching a ton of games. Yeah, I get it. Like I think the downside risks are obvious. That if one goes bad, they all go bad. But I'm pretty good at tanking multiple lineups with different players. And so I don't see the huge difference. I mean, obviously there's a difference, but it's just not. I don't know. I don't know if this is a plan or a strategy, Mike. It's neither. I think the plan is we're working on the plan right now, and then I have to go execute the strategy. But I was looking at. I mean, I already have, and Quinny was a one like rainbow stacks and or rainbow. What do we call them, Quinny? Vertical stacking. So I have a number of players already. Like if I like a player in rare, I would probably like him the super rare version of it. And that's how I've played the game like from the beginning. It's like if I bought like a really good card, like, oh yeah, I would love that card in super rare. And super rare scores are usually lower in terms of like raw scores. So if a player is good in rare, it's probably they're better in super rare because there are not as many of them. And so the I'm just curious if it's reasonable or not. Service said, "Is this to have more fun or win more? If it's the former, do it. If it's the latter, have more ambition." So I don't think I don't think doing this guarantees I win less. And frankly, if one of the lineups like just goes off one week, it's my week, and I win it 9 times. Let's go. So I do think that there is. And Quinny said, not a lot of managers have enough resources to get 6 copies of enough cards to do the strategy justice. I think most managers are also smart enough not to do it. But like I can run currently, I'm pretty sure I can run the same lineup in at least one lineup in limited, rare, and super rare. And part of that comes from like just cards I bought in rare that I was like, and then the super rare came up. My question now is actually that there are certain cards that I like in super rare that aren't as competitive in rare and limited. And am I actually capping my upside in limited by making like and I'm not saying using super rares in the limited lineup, but like basically doing that. So Rikaman, I did mean this, like the same lineup in 3 scarcities, but I also was thinking of multiple lineups, like multiples of the same lineup within the scarcity, meaning like going into challenger rare in 3 different divisions with the same lineup. Yeah, that's what Mike. Yes. Are you planning multi entries of copy lineups? Like I'm thinking about it. This is what we're here for. And again, like I'm going to try to frame this more in the, hey, let's talk about this instead of like, this is what I'm going to do. Ben said, I have 11 classic contender stacks right now. Right now, it's not an issue because I play 3 in classic, 1 in all-star, 3 in the cap, and bench 4 bad matchups. When old modes are gone, I need to sell some. Or maybe not, Ben. Like maybe there's all-star. All-star special weekly every week. Who knows? Mike was asking all divisions in classic, in season or classic. I actually don't. Pablo, and yes, mistakes will be made. Well played. Tuggy, multiple collections of the same collection. Genius. Yeah. So I was not thinking about this in terms of in season and classic. My apologies. I should have clarified that. But maybe I should. Maybe I should. Quinny said, I'm trying a diluted version of this with Celtic rares. Yeah, like that's a perfect example. Would you like, frankly, Quinny, I kind of thought you already did this. And maybe you're like mixing and matching on different scarcities, but I assume that you could run the same lineup in super rare and rare of Celtic. And Rigamon said, I think having 3 stacks of the same in each scarcity is a massive gamble, even more if you do it across 3 scarcities. So I guess it's a bigger gamble if you do it within 1 scarcity. Like my goal is not to run like 9 of the same lineups, like to run the same lineup 3 times in Challenger Super Rare, Challenger Rare, and Challenger Limited. Maybe I am. Doesn't bigger gamble mean bigger yields when you hit? 3 times the gamble. Just Mike had said, but if you think they can win in 1 scarcity, why not in the other? So this is where, so if you can win in limited, you can definitely win in super rare. but it's not the other way around. And so it's almost like I need to figure out if the super rare lineups that I'm going to put out would actually be good enough in limited. And I've never made lineups kind of, oh, let me just get the 5 best players. Like, obviously, I would like them, but like my budget doesn't allow it. And the cards that I have, I can't turn into the 5 best cards. And so it's, yeah, exactly. Kev Heard. When it bangs hard. Like I don't have enough lineups that bang as right now. And so why not put myself in a situation for like when they bang, I am maximizing the return I can get. And will there be more dead game weeks? Absolutely. Like, absolutely. Blue Tomato said, Hi, Laird, just heard the last minutes. Are you buying a Colorado Rapids vertical stack now? Heavens no. Heavens no. Mike said, ignore limited, stick to rare and super rare and could work. So I, it's funny you say that, Mike. So none of my plan is starting with limiteds or even getting them in the middle. Mickey said it's kind of like the Arsenal game week where Nep won everything. But I think those were all a bunch of different lineups, though. Like, Mickey, you and I have similar cards. So the idea would be like, what if I ran, Lossell, Paulinho, Was, Matson, Rami in super rare and limited. And then the idea is like order, and then do I mix it up? Do I get like a Pence, Van Lerberg, like not to like stick into the Scandinavia stuff, but but it's the best ones. But I don't think playing 3 of the same in the same scarcity is great. Mostly because I don't expect to have all of the lineups like in Division 1. And so like if they bang, it's like, do you really want to win Division 1, 3, and 4 or whatever it is? But maybe it's, I don't know. Kevin said, are you going for full collection bonus at each scarcity? No. Because I'm not saying I'm trying to build a collection and like a stack. Like it it could be 5 players from 5 different teams. Let's even call it 4 different teams because I'm like such a donkey when it comes to having a goalkeeper and defender from the same team. So like goalkeeper, defender from one team, midfielder from another, forward from another, and the extra from another. So like the collection bonus, not that it doesn't matter, but that's not the point. The point isn't to like stack a team, it's to stack 5 players. Literally stack them in different scarcities. So Bob brings up, this is a great point, but do you or anyone on this platform have the patience to wait for it to bang? Now, Bob, if this is a challenge, I'm ready to accept it. I'm also one of the most impatient people on this platform, as evidenced by a card I literally bought yesterday. But I'm still waiting for the week. Like, we've all seen those. Pranksy does it like all the time now. It's like you see one of those like what a game week graphics, and it's just like cards and it's just like packed with stuff. And I've won competitions before, 3 of them, I think. And like winning one is so much fun. It's also just one. And so you have like your line, like you need a lineup to totally bang to win a competition. And what if you had that lineup 9 times or 3 times? And so it's just, Blue Tomato said, I guess you would want Division 1 first, second, and third place because of the ETH. Yeah, there you go. That's another reason to do it. You obviously need to get all of your lineups into Division 1, all your entries into Division 1, and then they all hit it the same week. Like I said, do you have the patience for the off seasons though, or are you buying extra lineups for full coverage? So that's a good That's a good question. And I don't know. I'm generally lighter in this. That's not true, actually. I I think because if I tried to do it if I tried to do it just one per scarcity, like one lineup per scarcity. So I'm not even considering it as, and again, I don't want this to be confused with stacking a team or making a lineup from a collection, but it would like I could still do it with different like different seasons. Like in I'm mostly European heavy when it comes to contenders. I'm sorry, challengers. Challenger. Did we decide if there's an S yet? I don't think there is. But I'm actually very light in traditional European scheduled leagues. I'm light in contenders. But like I have some guys from Norway, and then it's a lot of like K League, J League, Argentina. And so I won't necessarily ever have like an off season. Maybe I'll have like a challenger off season where I'm just like, all right, I'm not playing this summer. Like I don't MLS, I have like a few cards, very few super rares, and so maybe I just like don't play those. I don't know. I don't know how the whole year would work, but obviously it allows me to streamline my my lineup process and my player research when it comes to figuring out like who's in, and immediately that makes me think like the line from Nanzo, whose line about stacking was, do you want to do you want it to be easy or do you want to win? And obviously, I think this is more likely to lead to more losing game weeks, meaning ones where I don't win a reward, than like I'm not just going to be somebody who like churns out tier threes and fours every week. I mean, maybe I will. Who knows? I doubt it. So it depends on that. Depends on that. Tuggy said a humble brag, but I don't know what that refers to since it was a few minutes ago. Kev Hurd said, I do like the idea for several reasons, though. Finding out team news would be easy for just a few teams. Like, so that's like a good example. Kev Hurd said, are you restructuring the gallery to do it or buying cards on top? I would probably restructure. Like I probably, I deposited recently to get in a few cards, and I don't see myself putting more money in for this. And mostly because I have a ton of cards that not that I don't, well, actually, I have a ton of cards that I never use, but there are also ones that are decent cards that they just like don't feel like they fit as much anymore. Stefan said, instead of building multiple same lineups, just build one lineup in a higher division. It is the same, higher cost, higher reward. Yeah, no, that's sort of the plan. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my spot here. Mike said, yeah, but weren't you selling all of their cards? I might. So, Kebab said, instead of doing that, building a collection of, let's say, PSV and entering each week with one lineup would outcome with more rewards, I think, with 15% bonus, hits podium time to time as well. Yes, but that's boring to me. And Russ said your strategy compounds the risk of injury benching. Absolutely does. Absolutely. Kev said definitely worth having other teams and also for more utility when the main team is off season. So again, Mike said, can you already test this with Midgerland before fully committing? I can. Well, I can't. No. The answer is no. I can't. I don't have. So like, I might be able to do it. I think I can make one lineup now. Let me see. One. I mean, I've been dealing with a ton of injuries right now, so that's why I can't do it. So I think so we're also moving beyond that whole like so if I have what I think is like a kind of a core, and I don't think it can just be 5 players, but like if I have like a core that I would want to play and then somebody gets hurt, do I have to add like 9 versions of this new card? And Red or Dead said, I'm stacking St. Pauli this game week in Contenders Classic with a Matanovic for the first time in ages. So I don't know what Matanovic is, but good luck. I need a St. Pauli clean sheet. Just Mike had said, how many times in a season do you think it hit? Say you have an Aston Villa stack. So again, it's not single team. So think of it as if you're in MLS and you're like, I'll take Brad Guzan and Brooks Lennon as my goalkeeper and defender. And then it's like Carlos Heel, Cucho, and Messi. And if you ran that 5 in super rare, rare, and limited, let's call it every week. That's the idea. It's not a single team. I don't want to play a single team stack every like I don't think 5 players from the same game from the same team is optimal strategy. Like almost certain and now that we don't know about midweeks on a weekend, I never think that's the path to the highest scoring lineup. And we see it all the time that it happened. Like PSV has just like smacked everyone this year. And we see all those lineups. But like it always feels like there's one player that like played well, but they were also the 78th highest scoring midfielder that week. And so I'm not doing that. Yeah. Like I said, I had a 3-man Salzburg stack. It hit once in All-Star Super Rare. They paid for themselves already. So I'm not against 3 from the same team, but like that's not my idea. Is like stacking the teams or stacking a team. No Name Informer. My thought is that with the new format, the prices of rare and super rares are going to go up. I hope so. There would be more need to buy because of categorizing as well, as this will always be another step after limited. Yeah. SR Click said to maximize, would you not need the vertical stacks and cards for matchups? If you have all the same and a few bad game weeks when your week to Smash comes around, you might be able to access the highest divisions. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I'm not necessarily saying that I'm running the same 5 players every single week. It's just excuse me. Well, this is going to sound weird. So I'm not running literally the same 5 cards every week. It's more like I'm running this lineup in this lineup in different scarcities. And I might have 20 cards that I'm choosing from. And then each week I take 5 out and I'm like 5 in super rare, 5 in rare, 5 in limited. Let's go. When he said A Bear leads my Celtic stack this weekend. John Martin said Pranksing wins with stacks constantly. Does he always stack? Is it always a 5-team stack? I'll also say that at the unique level, it's much different. Like that's a totally different game. So we'll see. I know he won with that LAFC stack, although I think he had wasn't there a non-LAFC player in that first one where everyone's like, oh, ban those stacks. Rika stack won All-Star Rare when they played Rudez right before the break. Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Have you decided on a region you're targeting at least? I mean, I'm the closest to doing it in contenders and challengers, actually. I could probably do it. And so the difficulty I have is it's just not always easy to get super rares. And so so then do I just run it in rare? I don't know. And again, since I have 3, it's like I could do this, like employ this strategy while also employing another, my current strategy of like jamming the 5 best cards I have this week. And I think there's probably the reason I haven't done this already is because I have better rares than I do super rares in certain spots. And so, like, if I have a challengers lineup of super rares where like my best midfielder is Nicholas Madsen, it's like I have better rares than Nicholas Madsen. And so I'm just like I'm now making a worse lineup in rare. And so do I get rid of Madsen or do I get rid of getting rid of rare seems silly. And so it's just stuff like that. I don't know what it's just not an easy strategy. But, and I've talked about this with Gator Guy before, lineup building and lineup tracking is my least favorite part of Sorare. And what I really enjoy is acquiring cards, whether it's buying them, whether it's trading to get new cards, whether it's selling cards and then buying, like that part of the game, which is why I like that Ren collection so much, because there's just a different way that you can play Sorare without having to rely on like lineups and rewards, and you get, unlucky injuries, and there's just stuff like that. And doing this strategy is almost like a little bit of a game in itself. Can I turn my Jonathan Mensah and Ricardo Escaio and Eder Balanta super rares into a slightly better super rare and then turn that into something that I have a rare of? And that's I like that part of the game. The whole like, what can we do with these cards that has nothing to do with the actual SO5 game? And we'll see. Miguel said, would you be looking at combining two stacks, like a defensive and attacking combo, or is it just constantly playing the same lineups in certain spots? It's not just playing the same. It's playing the same 5 cards in rare and super rare, but not the same 5 cards every game week, if that makes sense. Mike said, thinking about it, I've partly done this recently where I have a Petroli and Osipenko together at rare and limited level. Yeah. Like they're not teammates, but they're like a pair for you now. And so, yeah. Kev Hurd said, would have to scope the whole season ahead too to ensure all fixtures align. Canceled, rescheduled games would be a nightmare unless you have the depth. So the whole like ensuring that the fixtures align, that happens now. Like we should be doing that now. And most people don't. I don't. Like I'm not looking 4 game weeks ahead, literally 4, let alone 40, and being like, boy, do my lineups. I actually did that for a little bit. I take that back. So there was a few, like 2 months ago, I made my all-star rare pro lineup before they announced they were getting rid of it and then got rid of it. And before it was plus. But I made my lineup like 20 weeks in a row because I was like, where's Messi? Because the Messi rare, I consider my best card. So I was like, what's the best lineup I can put out in every single game week? But like, and that's when I was like, oh, this game week is good, but this, like, these are the 5 best cards I have, but this player is away. I was like, do I have anyone at home who's better? All right, who's home that week? Who could be? And like, we should be doing that. Whether you do a stack or a collection or this stupid idea I'm coming up with, it's just, we should all probably be doing that. Kev said those that don't scope ahead usually have the contingency depth, though. Most people don't have nearly enough depth. And it's not that they don't have enough depth. Well, it is. They don't have enough depth. But like, I actually think people overrate depth. I think depth is overrated. And I say that knowing that I do a show on Mondays with PSU fans too, who is like, I don't think anybody appreciates depth more than Sean. But also, when you have a gallery worth whatever his is worth now, it's okay to have depth. But I think there are actually people who probably are too deep and have cards that they like never play, or they like hold on to cards because they're like, I'll need this one day. And when they need it, they're like, see? And you're like, yeah, but there was 6 months where like you didn't need it and the value's tanking, and like people hold on to cards longer than they should just out of fear of depth, when it might actually be cheaper to like sell it. And then when you need the card, go buy it. Mike said it's not a stupid idea until Sean tells you you're a moron. That's why I don't ask Sean about ideas like this. Sorry, somebody's trying to get my level 20 Kim Tae Hwan from me, which is get out of here. Anyway, it's an idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it. The longer I don't do it, the more the fear of depth. That's a stream. Yeah. Mickey said, "Do you think people will embrace the depth when every single in-season card becomes classic this August, or will the market just be flooded?" I think the market will flood. I think we'll see an even bigger discrepancy between old and new season cards, and I think we'll see that every new season for the rest of time. But it's kind of similar to how we see like leagues that play in the calendar year, MLS and J League and K League, they all go down when European cards are coming back in July and August. So I don't think it's going to be anything different. It's just going to be moved essentially. Just Mike had said, but classic comps are better than in season. I mean, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I prefer classic, but and I didn't even think about that idea until I'm sorry. Was it Mike? Like the idea of playing the same lineup in classic and in season, like having an in season team and a classic team. That's interesting too. Hmm, I like that. But that's just something I've been thinking about, and I think so. I'm not somebody who negatively tilts. Not that you can positively tilt. I don't tilt my lineups that much. Like I get disappointed. And yeah, Quinny's saying folks with 3 classic and 3 in-season teams now will have 6 classic teams worth in a few weeks. Yeah. And they'll want to get out of them. So the I I get disappointed like when my lineups don't do well, but I get over it easily. And I think that actually helps. Um I think that helps me think that this idea could work. Um Yeah. Oh, just Micah, that's a good point. It would be really difficult to do that in super rare. I mean, doing anything in super rare is difficult. But yeah, it's just a different way to play the game. Like a new way it's a new way for me to like figure out how to do something in the game. Again, that's not like SO5 dependent. Obviously the success of this strategy depends on SO5. Like if the lineup's like never hit, then obviously it's just not a good idea. Well, actually, I'm not even sure that means it's a bad idea. It just means that the players I picked, like I didn't pick the right players. But is there something to like I know Quinny is is like passionate about the players of the cards he has in his gallery. Forgetting even Celtic. Like somebody joins FC Barcelona and Quinny's like, this guy is a legend. I love this guy. And he's not going to speak negatively about him. And every lineup he goes in, he's like, we're going to win this. Let's go. And I just picture Quinny just like hyping up his cards every game week. And having the same number of actual cards, but but a significantly smaller actual player pool. I wonder if I'll actually get more enjoyment out of the game and following these cards. Because right now I've got hundreds of cards representing hundreds of different players. And what if I had hundreds of cards and only a couple dozen players? Like, would that increase my passion for the game and for these players? And if so, isn't that the whole point of this game? Hmm, I don't know. That's all I got. If anyone sees my gallery and has a card that you think would make sense, let's talk. I'm ready to trade. I'm ready to do some deals. I have no money, so I apologize for that in advance. But the let's see how else we can play this game other than just jamming in lineups of players we don't. Yeah, Mike Basson. Don't forget to consider season-ending injuries or career-ending, for that matter. Yeah, I mean, they happen. They happen. Um, yeah, we'll see what we can do here. Anyway, I'm gonna go. It's Friday. You guys have stuff to do, I'm sure. Let's have a great weekend. If anybody, what do I see here? 75 people here still listening to me ramble on. Um, Mike said, I changed not long ago and now play with teams I enjoy watching and I love it. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so many fewer likes than people who are here. I don't ask that everybody participates in the chat, but I would love it if everybody liked the stream, especially those who are still watching after an hour and 11 minutes. So anyway, thank you to everybody for coming. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny, who maybe I'll do a show with Quinny to talk about this strategy and we'll figure out how to get it done. But yeah, good luck to everybody. I hope you got all your lineups in. I hope all of the decisives go your way. And I hope we have similar players if that's the case. And yeah, let's do it. Have a great weekend. Thank you for coming. I'll talk to you next week.